These are some of the most dramatic Simpsons episodes ever made. Let's start this video right off with the episode called Mother Simpson. Mother Simpson. It all starts when Homer ditches a mandatory community service cleanup day by staging his own death with a dummy, fooling everyone into thinking he's tragically gone.
That dummy worked like a charm, Dad.
Best $600 I ever spent. Come on, boy. We've earned this Saturday. Now let's make the most of it.
In reality, everyone knows he's a dummy, so maybe a doll would be a better choice of words. Anyway, as news of his death spreads, Marge faces Springfield's odd tributes. When Homer sees that this little stunt wasn't little at all, he heads to the Hall of Records to straighten out the mess. He makes a shocking discovery. His long-lost mother, Mona Simpson, is listed as alive. Rushing to her supposed grave, he finds it's just a tombstone for Walt Whitman. And then, in a dramatic twist of fate, Mona herself appears.
Wait a minute. Mom?
Homer?
After 27 years of absence, his mother is back, sparking an emotional reunion that shows Homer's joy and sorrow at the same time. Homer brings Mona home, and the Simpson family is surprised but overjoyed. But when Mona has a sudden, panic reaction to a passing police car, her mysterious past catches up to her. It turns out that Mona was a radical activist in the 1960s. She sabotaged Mr. Burns' germ warfare lab to protest against unethical practices. Though her actions cured young Clancy Wiggum's asthma, they also put her on the FBI wanted list, forcing her to leave Homer and his father for their safety. This revelation shocks Homer to the core. He starts realizing that his mother's departure wasn't because of him, but because of her need to protect him. Homer doesn't even get enough time to process this, because Burns, who never forgot Mona, spots her and quickly calls the feds. What a snitch!
Don't forget me.
Don't worry, Homer. You'll always be a part of me.
Mona and Homer attempt to escape, with the police closing in. They manage to evade capture thanks to Wiggum, forever grateful for the cure Mona's protest gave him. In this truly heart-wrenching goodbye scene, Mona leaves once more, this time out of necessity. As she drives away, she bumps her head and mutters, "Door!" An unspoken reminder that she and Homer are truly family, no matter the years and secrets between them. It's one of the few times in the series where the show doesn't say a word. It just lets the audience hang on to the image of Homer watching the stars, and lets us imagine what's going through Homer's mind after this sad occurrence. Hopefully it's not the monkey-banging cymbals, since that's for sure what he's thinking about in the next episode, during yet another dumb decision. One fish, two fish, blowfish, bluefish. In One Fish, Two Fish, Blowfish, Bluefish, Homer Simpson confronts his own mortality. This episode opens on a routine family dinner, Homer's favorite meatloaf night, but Lisa suggests trying something new. She proposes they explore sushi at the recently opened Happy Sumo restaurant. Let's just say Homer wasn't happy, but still went to the Happy Sumo. Once there, he immerses himself in sushi, eagerly trying a range of dishes. In a moment of pure stupidity, or in Homer's mind bravery, he orders the infamous fugu, a potentially deadly blowfish that requires precise preparation to avoid releasing a fatal toxin. When the master chef gets distracted, his untrained apprentice takes on this risky task. Unaware of the danger, Homer eats the fugu and praises its flavor, only to be informed afterward that it may have been incorrectly prepared. Panic erupts as Homer rushes to the hospital, where Dr. Hibbert delivers the grim news. He likely only has 24 hours to live. Homer's disbelief soon shifts to grief, as he realizes he has one final day to accomplish everything he's been too complacent or lazy to attempt. Determined not to waste any of his precious time, he drafts a bucket list. The following day, in true Homer fashion, he oversleeps, losing crucial hours of his last day alive. He frantically dives into his list, starting with deeply personal moments. He shares a fatherly heart-to-heart with Bart, listens to Lisa's saxophone playing, and even borrows Flanders' camcorder to record a farewell message for baby Maggie. Homer's urgency grows with each hour, yet he makes time for moments of petty satisfaction, like telling off his boss, Mr. Burns, and even squeezing in a quick drink at Moe's Tavern. This causes him to miss Marge's farewell dinner, arriving home in a tearful rush to say his goodbyes to the family before bed. In a final act of resolve, Homer sneaks downstairs after midnight, settling into his living room chair with a Bible cassette, narrated by Larry King. As the recording drifts to silence, Homer's head slumps forward, appearing as though he's passed away. The next morning, Marge discovers Homer in the chair, fearing the worst as she approaches him. But to her astonishment, his drool is still warm. Shaking him awake, she watches as Homer, equally shocked and thrilled to be alive, realizes that he never consumed the poisonous portion of the fish after all. Reborn with a new appreciation for life, Homer vows to make every day count, though this resolve is short-lived as he quickly continues his old habits. The balance of drama and heartbreak in One Fish, Two Fish, Blowfish, Bluefish remains one of the most memorable and moving moments in The Simpsons' history, a reminder of the importance of time and life itself, from fishes to cur, but with love, of course. To Cur with Love. In To Cur with Love, the story reveals a side of Homer Simpson's past that we really didn't know too much about.
I've just never really been a dog person. Really? What about Bongo? Bongo? I told you never to ever talk about Bongo!
We are shown the love that he had for his childhood pet, a border collie named Bongo. This nostalgic and heart-wrenching episode begins with Homer becoming hopelessly addicted to a new tablet game. His obsession escalates to the point where, distracted by the game, he accidentally drives his car off a bridge and into the water. The crash leads to a personal revelation from Grandpa Simpson, who becomes angry with Homer's apparent disregard for animals and carelessness. Seeking to set the record straight, Grandpa dives into a story that transports us to Homer's childhood. He recounts how young Homer had an intense, loving bond with his dog Bongo. Bongo was Homer's best friend. The flashbacks capture Homer's carefree childhood days, filled with laughter and moments with his beloved dog. However, a tragic and dramatic twist occurs. While fiercely defending Homer from their tyrannical neighbor, Mr. Burns, Bongo bites Mr. Burns on the leg to protect Homer, instantly marking himself as an enemy in Burns' eyes. Driven by revenge, Burns vows to make Bongo pay for the attack. Fearing for Bongo's life, Grandpa made the tough decision to send Bongo away, finding a safe new home for him far away from Burns' wrath. Young Homer was devastated and seemingly never fully recovered from the heartbreak of losing Bongo, especially since he was never told the reason why his dog had to leave. As Grandpa finishes his tale, Homer is struck by memories. The story brings Homer's love for animals back to the surface, reminding him of the unconditional affection he once shared with his dog. The episode concludes with Homer honoring Bongo's memory, demonstrating a newfound dedication to the animals in his life. This episode stands out as one of The Simpsons' more touching narratives. If this one was about remembrance, the next one is definitely about regret. 4 Regrettings and a Funeral. The episode begins with Springfield gathered to mourn at Chip's funeral, setting a somber tone that stirs up memories and long-buried regrets for Homer, Marge, Mr. Burns, and Kent Brockman. Homer's regret centers on a financial misstep that is quintessentially Homer. Years ago, he foolishly sold his Apple stock to buy a coveted bowling ball. Why aren't we even surprised with his decisions? He imagines the alternate life they might have lived if he had held on to the stock, lamenting that his impulsive mistake cost his family financial security and a life of luxury. Meanwhile, Marge reflects on her attempts to break Maggie's pacifier habit, worried she was becoming too dependent. Marge pushes Maggie to give up the pacifier, but it backfired when Maggie grew visibly unhappy and withdrawn.
Pacifier? But when a mother makes a decision, she has to stick by it. Okay, you can have it back. No!
Haunted by this memory, Marge begins to wonder if her choice caused lasting harm. In her quest to right this past wrong, she reintroduces Maggie to the pacifier, convinced it might heal some of her regrets.
Substitute? Accu-cheat? Pink 182? Wanna suck on the receipt?
In the darkest of the 4 storylines, Mr. Burns laments the love he lost with his once fiancée Lila. Young Burns, more idealistic than the man we know today, had been in love with Lila, whose kindness and beauty made her stand out from his cold world of wealth. But when Lila challenges Burns to reject his ruthless corporate lifestyle for a life of love and integrity, he chooses power and greed over their relationship, shattering both of their hearts. Standing alone, Burns reflects on the hollow emptiness his riches bring him, wondering if his lonely life was worth the sacrifice of true happiness and love. Finally, Kent Brockman, the longtime Springfield news anchor, confronts his regret at never selling out to a major network when he had the chance. Though he once had high hopes of becoming a national figure, Kit remained in Springfield, loyal to his roots but yearning for the fame he felt he missed out on. The final moment underscores the episode's message that while everyone has regrets, it's what we choose to do with them that matters. Chip Davis's memory serves as a catalyst for reflection, leaving each character, and the viewers, with a bittersweet reminder that life is made up of countless decisions, each with the power to shape our future.